to track deer and other game. By the 16th century, however, they also were used to track people.
Right, a bloodhound. This is a bloodhound. A prominent slavery approach involved in the control of domination of African American slaves was to use of highly trained so-called Negro dogs. Bloodhounds, foxhounds, bulldogs, Scotch staghounds, or curs, a mongrel, to track runaway slaves.
They say a dog's nose knows. And at a makeshift lab in Finland's Helsinki airport, researchers from the University of Helsinki are collecting sweaty samples from thousands of arriving passengers to show a dog's nose knows COVID-19, even better than man's best test. They're, what, cheaper? Yep. They're quicker? Yep. Possibly as accurate? Possibly even more accurate. Because they can smell COVID days before a patient develops symptoms. That, really soft thing you have on your carpet at home, or, that starts barking and wants to have food and go out, that this is actually a super accurate machine. For years, dogs have sniffed for explosives and drugs, survivors in disasters, even for some cancers. And now, from Bahrain to Russia, across Europe, and in the U.S. at the University of Pennsylvania, they're being trained to find people who are COVID positive. A French study in June found very high evidence that the sweat of COVID positive people has a distinct smell that dogs can detect.
All right. Don't get this wrong. This is, first of all, let me say, give all praise to Yahweh Shem, Shabbat Shem, Kodash. And double honors to the apostle, there was a great millstone of peace. Salutation to you, brother, doing the work of sincerity and the truth, the hope for elect. The brothers waiting every day patiently for Yahweh Shem, Shabbat to return so we can get out this place. Peace and salutations to you, brothers, man. All right. This ain't you see, we got pets or dogs that were I used to sniff out C19, okay? The Crown on 19, man. So this thing is nothing but your modern day bloodhounds, man. Okay. He is going to adopt this, like the other European nations. They're going to adopt this thing, man, and to make sure they can have a sniff out so-called vaccine. I mean, not vaccine, but the C19, which to hunt people down. All right, to take the max. Okay. And this is gonna get spread wide. America hasn't used it as much, but this over here in I believe it's Europe. Okay, are gonna use it. It's gonna spread over here because that's what it do. It starts somewhere else, and it ends somewhere. It catches on everywhere. All right, like a brother had a dream. He said they came knocking on his door. All right, so to tell him to take the max. So we don't know the stuff that we might see sooner or later that. This devil is going to try to do. All right. So these are like having, like I said, a bloodhound was used to catch runaway slaves and shit like that, man. And it wasn't just a certain type of bloodhound. All dogs just sniff out certain things. Okay. So I just used the word bloodhound as a phrase. All right. Because they basically it's going to be blood. All right. Regardless. All right. You're going to sniff you out and use it. And they can just say a false claim. All right. All right, so let me just continue with the video. Hold on.
Has a disc for sweaty socks and used masks.
Oh, it's like
smell the dogs can detect.
We really need your help and your body odor.
British researchers are now asking for sweaty socks and used masks to test their dog's accuracy.
Now, what they're basically doing is getting your scent plus the scent of the so-called Crown Royal, what they're trying to sniff out, okay? So that's what's going on. They mixing that in. So, hey, this thing is going to come over here. It's going to be so much things. Like they had so many bloodhounds that would tear your ass up if you was a runaway slave. They used to practice, all right? They used to then have bloodhounds see any Jake, okay? know who a Jake was until it was time to catch him. Okay, so they won't be familiar with seeing a Jake. All right, in slavery. All right, let's continue. All right, because now they asking for your mask, they asking for your some samples, some blood, sweat. Dogs have powerful noses. They could smell out more than just C19. They can now they got your body odor in this thing, man. We ain't stupid. All right, we're gonna continue. All right, and they saying it with a nice type of tone. All right.
Well, if dogs are able to do this with high enough accuracy, what we'd be looking at is deploying dogs in areas where we need to screen lots of people very quickly.
By sniffing through your clothes. Their first real-world trials this week at a train station in London. But here in Helsinki, they're ahead of the pack, screening passengers like me after a baggage claim. A quick wipe down, hand over your tissues, and the dog goes to work behind a screen, scratching a positive control sample.
Well, that was quick.
But mine?
Negative.
See, now this is a game that you don't want to play. Now, you see this in airports. What you think is going to happen when they put it in the airports over here, all right? So, hey, you think he's super slick, man. I think he's slicker than the can of oil, but you dealing with the people at your high bar shimmy shop. We know these things are going to come, man. But, hey, these things are going to be in the forefront, and the world is going to have to... we're going to have to be partakers of this thing, man, because it says all small, rich or poor, free and bond should receive this mark, man. So they could take you to these camps, or they could just walk down the street. They could just one of these pets, these dogs can sniff you out, all right? They could use these dogs as a way to chase you down, okay? Because a lot of them are vicious, okay? Dogs have teeth, all right? Ain't nothing they doing this is just for your well doing. No, all right. If it's E out in Europe, if it's an E in America, it's the same people. Okay, let's keep going.
The backup, a free standard test at the airport with that eye-watering nasal swab, and results in a day or two by text.
Right. So they're trying to say it's
Dogs take
fast.
a few days to a few weeks to train, depending on their background and their love of treats. And researchers say one dog can sniff more than 100 samples a day at airports, offices, nursing homes.
Right.
I mean, this could save lives. This can save lives, actually.
So basically, a dog can sniff out 100, but they're gonna have to have a lot of dogs or whatever to sniff out certain people that have them. You get off, now they can put you in the camps that you don't want, that they can lock you up in. All right, now let's see what she says.
So I think it was kind of a no-brainer for us.
And researchers here are really bullish about this. They say that they need to collect more data. They'll be doing that over the next several weeks. But they think this could be in use at airports really around the world by next year.
All right, this devil's always up to something, man. You can't go left or right with this devil. He's still right around there, seeing how he could deceive you, man. Right? Okay. All right, this is let's see, this is right here in this article. It says Negro dogs. Okay, it says the generic training of Negro attack dogs went like this: the dogs were locked up and never allowed to see Negroes except while training to catch them. Dogs were given the scent of a black person's shoe or article of clothing and taught to follow the scent. Okay, they were actually taught to follow the scent. What you think? You think it's just a scent of a C19? No, this scent is actually a scent of your pheromones of your body odor and etc. All they do is put in, log in, and put your name under. Okay, whatever happens. Okay, I'm not keen. I just know through the spirit this is gonna be used also. Okay, all right. It says slaves were sent out as trainees. Okay, so they used to just test a Jake to run away. Let's say when the dog treed a slave, so when he ran up a tree to get away, they said the dogs were given meat as a reward afterwards. They learned to follow any particular Negro by scent. So that's how they learn. Now they learn by finding scent of you Jakes, man. So or anybody. Actually, let's put it like this: if it goes broad, if it goes wide, if it goes narrow, it's still gonna be pinpointed to. It's gonna really be only for Jake. All right, and down all the way down to the men of the Lord. Okay, it says the dogs were given meat as a reward. Afterwards, they learned to follow any particular Negro by scent. So they knew after that how to follow you. They knew. I mean, so they trained these dogs to do this, man. All right. So that's why I brought up the thought about bloodhound. Spirit put it on me. This is a bloodhound attack or a search or to chase you down. Okay. All right. All right. Besides the patrollers, let me get that and show you what that actually was. I think that's a slave. Slave. It says patrollers. It says slave patrollers, traditionally known as patrollers, patrollers, okay, pattern rollers. So the pattern, they say, or patty rollers, or patty rollers, okay. It says by enslaved persons of African descent, but we know the Israelites. They were organized organized groups of armed men who monitored or enforced this discipline upon slaves in an antebellum U.S. southern state. So let's get the word antebellum real quick. Okay, the word antebellum goes into the word of occurring or existed before a particular war. Okay, it says especially the American Civil War. Okay, so it was talking about a war at that moment. All right, so let's go back. But a patroller is a patty roller, or that's what they give it to a patty wagon. Okay, where they put you in there. All right, because it was for slaves. So when you get put in a paddy wagon, it was for slaves to get rounded up and put into. All right. Let's continue to read. Just a couple more sentences. It says, besides the paddy roller's readiness with the zest of sport, so they loved it. Okay, let's get the understanding of that word real quick. I know it's tedious, but it says a great enthusiasm or energy for zest. Okay, it says of sport because a person could be made sport. All right. Let's see what this word sport means, and I'm gonna slow down on that. Let's see if it gives me a definition. All right, definition of sport. It says physical activity as running an athletic game, engaged in the pleasure of exercises, because it's an exercise to chase somebody. So that's where you get trainee to train you to learn how to hunt down the slave. So these now it's just going to be another way of just finding people who so-called have it or not. All right, or it doesn't matter. It's going to chase you down. You done left your scent with them. Okay, skating is my favorite sport. Okay, a person who shows a good sportsmanship. He sports and doesn't mind. Okay, the action word. Okay, we just go back. All right, it says, and this is I think it's page 159 or 180 in that book. Okay, but let me continue reading. It says, if the dogs were constrained, let's read. It says, the zest of sports, their canine Negro hunters were fierce, vicious, and fearsome beasts. So they were terrible. Them bloodhounds you see with the floppy ears were out there tearing people apart. Okay, if they were the dogs, and that's just not one type of dog, because all dogs can smell scents. Okay, and bloodhound can smell blood. Okay, if the dogs were not constrained at the end of the chase, they would tear a man to pieces. See how vicious they were. So the little cute floppy eared dogs were man killers. Okay, and they used to kill slaves, and sometimes I guarantee they let the dogs tear them apart. Okay, once discovered, the slave was bound, beaten, and bloodied. Plus, he got beaten if he was attacked by the dog. Okay, although the night watches were replaced following slavery. All right, they used to call it a night watch. Okay, the essence of practices were continued by the Ku Klux Klan, who existed in slavery but under a different name. Ain't that crazy, huh? It was under a whole different name. Okay. As evil and sadistic as Europeans were to the slaves, you think they stopped? Okay, and their descendants, which are now the same blood, the question arises as to what verbalization did the police Negro attack dogs have, not only on the slaves but also on their descendants. Okay, up to this day. So what they I believe it's saying, what did it say? So it says Black Americans know that the big picture was larger than just fearful slaves. I think I read this one more paragraph. It says, following slavery, attack dogs contributed to maintaining apathy, frustration, and chronic anger generated in black peoples by ongoing racism, right? Because they had German shepherds, right? Since hostile emotions were escalating in Negroes after World War II, only Reverend him could have led the Montgomery bus boycott for an entire year without violence retaliation against the attack dogs, fire hoses, and also barbarian instigated by extremely sadistic white people. All right, so it's nothing changed. Okay, that's only a few years ago. At this moment, it'll be 50 some years with that, and it still didn't stop. Okay, it's still being brought. The police have the same type of dogs, but these dogs are going to be trained to probably try to sniff anybody out if you leave your scent in the world. Okay, because they can replicate your scent. All right, it says the attack dogs produce psychic trauma in many minds of the slaves and subsequent black, either from direct experience or from vicious empathy. Changes are the trauma designed in a few black people. Mental transformation in peaceful people into a hateful mindset, a mindset that was culturally transmitted. So they said that shit came from their ass, man. All right, in this article, that it made us angry. It transferred from them to us. Okay, could that transmission display today in hateful reenactment? You see how crazy it gets on dogs and symbols. Otherwise, yeah, because we got. I know I can't. I like dogs, but I can't really. I know it's vicious, and I know, I really don't want to deal with them. Unless I know the dog, and like everybody else would. But an Italian scenario regarding attack dogs on blacks have set up a special dog atmosphere. Special dog atmosphere. From my boyhood days onward, I have seen many black people terribly afraid of most gentle dogs, right? And that's a dog. A dog be like a Jake could be like, man, I don't know your dog, okay? And everybody be like, man, he doesn't do anything, man. We just ain't gonna get by him. It's something embedded in us, man. And they used to do that to our brothers, man. Use those dogs, man. This is another way of doing those type of roundups, on you, okay? Because they said in a video, it said the dogs are more accurate than you. They actually like basically highly accurate. All right, but with irritable dogs, that fear often cause those dogs to go on the attacks. Okay, but have treated some of those black people for vicious dog bites and seeing how they are adversely affected. All right. All right, so because this devil is sticky slick, man. Ain't no way that if you deal with anything this man does, his whole thing is to trick you. All right, come over here and live with your smells. They're gonna fall. They're coming to fall on us, man. Like I said before, the brother had a dream of E coming knocking on the door, ready to give him that jab. All right. They coming to the doors, man. They're gonna have they bloodhounds. They're gonna have everything ready and waiting. Okay. It says, see that then that you walk circumspectly, right? Be prepared, man. And look around this thing, man. Not as fools, but wise, redeeming the times because they are evil, man. All right. So these people are ready to pounce on you, man, for to shut down and bring in NWO. E does it unconsciously. I mean, Hey, he bleeds, he dreams of doing you in, okay? He said, wherefore be not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord. So understand the will of the Lord, what he wants you to do, man. Come back to the Lord, repent, man. It says, and be not drunk with wine wherein is excess, but be filled with the Spirit, all right? Don't be drunk and don't be stupid, be sober, okay? Let's go there real quick. I go to Romans. I think it's 10. No, that's it. That's it. Let's go over one. You know what? Let's go here. I think it's right. It said what it said. It said, "Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, seeking, walking about, seeking whom he may devour." Right, and that's part of this thing, man. He walking about. He exercised himself of wickedness, man. All right, he looked for a way to take you down every day. They dream upon their beds to hurt you and harm you. Okay. So it says, whom resist is steadfast in faith, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brothers that are in the world, okay? So these things are accomplished. You're going to be in your brothers, the elect, man, in the world, man, because this devil is already getting things set up, right? So we got to prepare for the time that's to come, man. All right, in due time, this devil think he gonna complete his enterprise. He's taking his nonstop because he know that he got but a short time. All right. All right, so seeing that these things don't happen, man, hey, they used to use those dogs back in the day in the emperors, man. He's called them, I think, cane corsos, okay? So, you know, and that's to break Jake down. So anything that could harm Jake is already in there. We got food problems. We got women problems. We got all these things come upon us, man, from each side, okay? And we still got to deal with the world, and we still got to repent, and we still got to know that the Lord is coming to save us. So, and with that, hey, I'm going to give all praise to you. How about you, man? Shout out, peace, salutation, shalom.